My name is Maya, and welcome to episode 7 of the Mila's Knitting podcast. Today is the 23rd of September 2023, which means it's finally fall. And it's actually pretty cold today, at least I am cold. That's why I have a tea with me, trying to warm my hands up. But yeah, we just lost like 20 degrees in 2 weeks. It was pretty intense these days, but it was about time because the heat waves were getting a little bit out of hand this year. Anyway, you can find me on Instagram as mila's.things, and that's it. For today, the program will be kind of short, maybe. We will see. I have 2 finished objects, one of which I am wearing, and the second one I would like to wear because I'm cold. So there's that, and I have 1 whip that I cannot show you because it's a secret test knit. Not really secret, but it hasn't been announced yet, so I cannot show it to you for now. And I don't have any acquisitions. However, I have ordered some yarn and I can talk to you about the project I have in mind for that because I have half of the yarn already. So that will be it for today, and I will put up links of everything I talk about down in the description box. I will also write everything on screen, and you can also find my measurements in the description box if that's of any interest to you. Oh, if you want to know what tea I'm drinking, I'm not exactly sure because some friends of mine came from Korea at the beginning of the summer and they just left a whole bunch of Korean stuff at my place because they stayed here, and I do have a lot of tea from them, but it's written in Korean on the label, so I'm not sure. I think this one is like honey and pear flavored, but I'm trying it for the first time and pretty good. And yeah, I drink my tea in clear glasses because I'm weird and I don't like the thick border that a lot of mugs have, and I just prefer clear glass, so that's what I drink my tea in. Anyway, so for what I am wearing, this is the Tolsta tea by Rebecca Clow from the Korea Bea Knitting Podcast, and it is knit using the yarn Antigone by the Rerum Natura, which is a French brand, and this is 100% linen yarn in the colorway Héron. And I used about 220 grams for the t-shirt, and I am knitting the fingering weight version of the pattern. It exists in both DK and fingering weight. I used 3.25mm needles and I modified the pattern. First, I am off gauge, but I haven't measured it, but I am off gauge, but I don't know about how many. I think my stitches are a little bit too big, and I maybe 1 or 2 stitches off, but not much. And I picked size 2, which would be a little bit too big for my gauge, so I just changed the numbers. Basically, I change mostly the raglan increases. I follow the pattern until like here, and then I did increases more rapidly for the sleeves, and I kept the same rate for the body. I still can't say that word, no. Because I have big arms compared to my bust size, so I just wanted to have more room there. Yeah, it's fitting great. I'm really happy about it. The other modification, pretty obvious, is the hems, the folded over brims everywhere, basically. I did that first for the cast on. I did only stockinette instead of ribbing with a little bit less stitches. Like, if I can take an example, if I had to cast on 100 stitches, which is not the case, I would have removed 10%, which means 10 stitches, so cast on only 19. And add the 10 missing stitches when I folded the thing. When I knit the row with the cast on edge. So that's what I did for that, and then for those hems, I decreased 10% of the stitches, no, even more. I made 1 decrease, like I knit 2 together, every 7 stitches, which means every eighth every 8 stitches I did a decrease. And then I did a row of pearls, which I also did here, and knit for like 2 or 3 rows, and then fold over the thing. I didn't bind off, and I attached the live stitches directly to the fabric, which means I don't have any bulk here, and it's very stretchy. So, and also it saves me the bind off. So that's just win-win-win for me. And I did the same for the body. But you can kind of see the decreases here. I know why, but it would be a little bit too technical to explain. But yeah, this yarn is kind of showing everything, so you can see the decreases, and also I didn't do the best blocking job. I should have put a cord inside the hem and pin the cord down so that it would be really straight, but I didn't because I was lazy. So now it's a little bit not exactly straight, but I don't care. And also, maybe you can kind of tell, because this first part was knit and blocked twice and frogged and knit again for the 3rd time. So this yarn is much more smooth and soft, because linen softens up a lot with touch and manipulation and blocking and wearing. So this part is much more softer than the bottom part, where this is new yarn. And also you can maybe see, I have a mirror behind you, but there is kind of a line here, and that's because this part was washed and blocked twice. So the color has a little bit run out, but this one has not. So it will eventually even out with wear. No, not with wear, with wash. But for now you can kind of tell there is a line, but I don't care. Yeah, nobody will see it, so really no, I don't care. And you can maybe also tell that this part is a little bit more, not rough, but the stitches are a little bit more, how do you tell that? I forgot the word, but I was knitting with crinkled yarn, basically, because I frogged and then knit straight again from the yarn without blocking it and straightening it out, which means the fabric was really wonky and going in all directions, while this one was pretty smooth from the beginning because I was using straight yarn from the ball. So you can also kind of tell there is a difference in texture from the bottom part and the top part, but I don't care. So yeah, that's it. No, the most major modification I did, which is the reason why I actually frogged this entirely, almost, I just kept the neckline, is because I am so particular about the fit of my t-shirts. As I mentioned in the last episode, I basically cannot stand when the front part comes higher than my collarbones, while the back comes too low. Too low, like this. I just put it up, so normally it's fitting like this, because I made a modification. So what I did is pretty simple. I took the 4 raglan points in the pattern and I moved them back by 4 stitches, which means the back piece, the back panel, is 8 stitches smaller than the front one. So pretty easy modification, but what that means, and it will be easier to show you in pictures I took before ripping out the whole thing, is that the point where your shoulder connects to your neck is not exactly at the middle of your body. Like if you take, this hand is the front part and this hand is my back, the shoulder is not exactly in the center, it's more to the back, to the neck side. Which means if you put the raglan increases exactly in the middle, the whole t-shirt will be shifted to the back like this, and it makes the front come higher even if you put short rows, and the back come lower in the back, which I cannot stand. Usually it's okay, I mean most people don't mind, and it's still, you can still wear the t-shirt if it's like this, like it's not really uncomfortable or anything, but for me it is. So I just made this simple modification. I just moved the raglan increases to the back a little bit so that it would fit naturally like this. That's it. Yeah, so I said it would be easier to see in the picture. So the picture was taken before I made this modification, so it's with the original pattern. And on the first picture I am wearing it like it would sit normally if I don't fuss with the fit. So you can see the front riding up, and on the second picture I moved the neckline where I want it to be, and the back as well. And you can see the raglan points are shifted to the front. And yeah, the way to avoid that is just to move them when you need the garment. That's it. Pretty easy modification to help with the fit of your necks if you find it is coming up too high, even if you have short drawers. However, I still think it's like if I... And you can also see the drape of this fabric is absolutely lovely. I love it so much. Anyway, so if I just move around and I let the t-shirt sit in the right place on my body, it's still tiny bit too high to the front and still a tiny bit too low on the back, if you can see. So yeah, I think I should have made just a little bit more short drawers. I didn't do enough, I just followed the pattern for that. I should have added more, I think. But anyway, I'm not going to read back a third time for that. It's just fitting really well, just in time for the weather to cool down. So yeah, this is a really, I can tell it's a really amazing fabric to wear when it's hot, because I am cold. It's like 20, 22 degrees and I'm just cold. That's it for my finished object, the first one. Let me tell you about the second one, which is my Feel Good Shawl by Andrea Mowry, which is absolutely huge. And I am so happy about it. I'm not even sure it's in frame. Yeah, it is. It's amazing. It's everything I wanted it to be and even more. Yeah, I'm just so happy with the drape, the size, the colors, everything. It's beautiful and it's so soft. For the yarns, I have the tags here. So I used 5 yarns. But first, I'm cold, so I'll just put this on me now that I have shown it to you. Much better. So I have used 5 yarns, 3 of which I got in a mystery pack by Olan, and one of which is Explorer Knits and Fibers Earthy Decay Base in the colorway Linen, which is this light beige colorway here. I also used it for the bind-off, the I-cord bind-off, and you can see it peek here. So that's it for one DK. I also used another DK, which is probably more like a worsted when I feel it, because it's much more thicker than this one, but they are both the same meterage, so I'm not sure what's happening there. This one is one I got in the mystery pack, and it's the core base, like C-O with an accent R. Colorway is, I do not know, because first I cannot read the label, and second I don't know how to say it. So it's this pink yarn here at the beginning. I have just this left, which is from my swatch that I unraveled, and I had a little bit left because I couldn't do one more row. However, if I had unraveled my swatch at that moment, I think I would have enough to make one more row. But it's too late, so I have a little bit of yarn left, which is really annoying to me, but calm down, it's gonna be okay. And then I used, again from Olan, the mohair. It's a kit silk mohair, which is 72% mohair, 28% silk. The colorway is Vale, and it's, you can see it better on this side. I held it double on this part. It's kind of a light beige with some green parts and yellow and even some blues. I don't know, it's very, very subtle, very beautiful. And I held it, so I held it double here, and I held it with this brown that there is on the other side. I held it one strand of mohair and one strand of the brown on here, and the brown is Sock Light Base, 80% superwash merino, 20% nylon in the colorway Kiln. So it's this brown here. Just a brown, really basic brown, beautiful brown with a lot of how do you say, tonality. That's it for this one. And the last one is from Les Garçons, or no, Dyed by Delts, which is not Les Garçons. It's the yak sock base, and so it's a 70% superwash merino wool, 20% yak, 10% nylon. It's a fingering weight, and the colorway is Jean Fils Dirty Martini. And it's this green, like almost camo green, military green or whatever, colorway here. And I used this colorway to replace another one from Olan, which was this one, that I thought would not go too well with the rest of the shawl. So I just swapped it out with this green, and I think it's just working better. I think I'll put up a picture or something. Yeah, so with this yarn I decided to do squares for my granny square blanket. Because I don't mind having 10 times the same square in my blanket, so I just do that. Because I love this colorway, it's awesome, but I don't really see myself wearing it, so... And I still want to see it and to touch it and to use it, so I just put it in my blanket, and that's the best I can do for this. So I started doing that. Just a side note. So that was the 5 yarns I used. So the fingering weights and the mohair I held double to match the decay gauge that's called for in the pattern. And that's it. I used 4mm needles, and I just knit until I ran out of whatever yarn I was using in each section, which means the biggest modification I did for the pattern was the size of the sections. You can see in the original pattern picture what the distribution should be like, and mine is very different. Oh yeah, and I also wanted to mention that the Olan yarn, this one, the pink one, the pink one here, there was a knot in the middle of the skein, and it's milled by the owner of the mill, Jessica. So she does everything herself. She chooses the yarns, she mills it, she skins it, she dyes it, she does everything. And there was a knot in my skein, and I fluff. And I didn't think much about it when I came to it. I just unraveled the knot and did a split splice with the yarn, because it's not superwash. But when I blocked it, I noticed there is a color difference. You can kind of tell. One section is more pink and more intense than the bottom one. So I was really annoyed at first, because I was like, it's a single skein. I cannot really alternate skeins with itself, and I couldn't know until I got to the knot. So, but in the end, it's a complete coincidence, but the sections are actually the same size as the other change of colors, so it just looks made on purpose somehow. So I think it looks fine. And anyway, when I wear the shawl, nobody can tell, so really I don't care. As I seem to do a lot with my knitting, I don't really care for much, but that's how it looks like when I wear it, as I always wear shawls. And actually that's not the side I want to wear out, because the way I arranged my colors is basically to have all the mohair side on one side, on one, like the wrong side of the shawl, and all the non-mohair and soft yarns on the right side of the shawl. That way I can wear the mohair outside and the soft yarns against me, because mohair is kind of itchy to me. Like, it's really soft, but I don't know, in this area I don't like it. Especially when I get a little bit sweaty, it immediately becomes unbearable. So this is not how I would like to wear it. And also, I kind of don't like how it looks here. I mean, it's just less pretty than this side, I think. So it's a good thing, because I am planning to wear it. It's huge. Like this. Which looks much better, in my opinion. I think. I just really, really like how it looks here. With the white, it looks like bones, like a rib cage or something. I just really, really like how it looks. And there is a little bit less pink up here. So, and yeah, I just prefer it that way. I wanted to add... Oh yeah, I can show you pictures of how it looked like before I blocked it. If you needed a friendly reminder to always block your projects, especially shawls, especially brioche, because it just looked like a weird blob of yarn in a really not appealing shape. Just looked like the... How do you call them? The sea flip-flaps or whatever. The, like, I don't know the words, but these. It just looked like that, and it was funny, but unwearable. The shape was just too weird. So I'm happy it blocked out. I had to kind of stretch the edge, this one, a lot. But I'm happy I did the modification I mentioned last time, which is this side is you're supposed to use only one color for the garter edge. And I did that for a while, but then at some point I stopped and I started using both colors because it was just too tight. And yeah, there is like zero stretch left here, whereas here it's a little bit better. A little bit. So yeah, that's the main modification I did, apart from the color repartition. And I wanted to add that the pattern was pretty vague and it was difficult to know on what side what color would show. Because I'm saying that because in the pattern it's stated, and on the pattern page on her website and on Ravelry, it's stated that it's a pattern that's easy to modify the size of. So if you have different amount of yarns or whatever, it's easy to just change the shape of the thing. However, if you don't follow the pattern to a T, like if you don't finish every row exactly where she tells you to, it's really difficult to know which of the new yarn you're joining will be on which side of the shawl. Because brioche, it's double knitting and it's a little bit weird. It doesn't really depend on what side you attach your yarn, it depends on what row of the repeats you are starting with. I don't know how to explain. If you've done brioche, two-color brioche, you'll probably notice that. I noticed that in the swatch because I tried joining first this color yarn on one side of the swatch, and then I swapped, I unraveled, and I tried attaching the other color, and the result was the same. I don't know how, and I did it like 7 times, really, because I couldn't believe it. Like, I am literally starting with another yarn, and the result is the same. So yeah, it was, I don't know what I did, but it's kind of difficult to know what color will end up on which side, and the pattern is absolutely not helping you with that. So I'm glad I tried that in the swatch first, because having to do 7 times the same rows on this huge thing would be really annoying. So yeah, that's kind of the only thing I can tell about the pattern, is that if you are planning to modify the sections, the sides of the sections, be careful. And again, I wouldn't really mind, but the fact that it's written in the pattern that it's easy to modify the size, I was expecting some guidance. That's all. Other than that, the pattern is really fine and easy to follow, so I recommend. So that's it for my finished object. And now, yeah, as I mentioned, my only whip I cannot really show you because it's not revealed yet by the designer, which is Jessie Mae of Jessie Mae Designs. But I can show you the yarn I'm using, which is this one. It's the Candide base by De Rerum Natura. Apparently I love this brand. It's a mix between, it's a 70% wool, 28% recycled cotton, and 2% other recycled fibers, which I don't know what they are. But it's a really smooth and soft yarn. I really like it. And the colorway is Sirène, which would be siren in English. I am almost done with it. I finished, it's a sweater, a long sleeve sweater, and I finished the body, the neckline, and I started on one sleeve, and I am waiting on an answer from Jessie because I am kind of really wanting to do it short sleeved. I really like the look it has, but I just want to see with her if it's okay with her. And yeah, it should be done in like a few days. I think. I will probably wear it as a finished object on next episode, but for now I cannot show it to you. So that's it for now. But I wanted to tell you about my acquisitions I don't have yet. Because I have ordered in the latest shop update from Honor Oak Air. Don't know how to say that, I'm sorry. It's the people that make the Nutiden yarn. And they had a shop update on the 21st of September. And I ordered 2 colorways. One I will show you when I get it, but the other one is just a pretty basic, really dark gray base, like black, almost black, but kind of really dark gray. And what I am planning to do with that is this, which is called the Arctic Morning Blanket by Jenny's Hope, which is probably one of my dream knits. So maybe I will enter the Dream Knit Cal by Knitting Traditions. And I was just thinking about what yarn to use, because it's such a special pattern. I wanted to use some special yarn. And actually I have I have some of these, which are some samples I got every time I ordered yarn I ordered some Nutiden yarn. And when you order, you get some sample yarn as well on top of your order. So I have some of those, which are, in this case, fades. I have some that are not fades, but I have used them up. This one is Vale, which is a cool and funky fade between magenta, reds, greens, and even some yellows, but I don't have the yellow here. This one is Loose from last winter. It's a fade between yellow and orange, but I have only the orange here. This one is Silhouette, which is a birthday blend from maybe 2 years ago or last year I think. It's just a blend between grey and grey. And this one, I don't know the colorways because I didn't get them. But this is a really soft peachy pink. And this is like a dark black. And the color I ordered is a black, which is really similar to this one actually, so maybe I will not use this one. But yeah, I want to use the black as the background color for the color work and use those as the contrasted colors. And since they are fade, I should be able to do one... Did I mention how the blanket is constructed? I did not. It's a hexagonal worsted weight color work blanket, which means you do each hexagon individually with color work in the round, because you cast on at the center and then knit out in the round, and then you sew all the hexagons together. My plan is to use one of these for each hexagon. However, I want to hold the yarn double because it's a worsted weight pattern, and I'm not sure those are enough for one hexagon. I will see. I will just try with one, probably the smallest one, and see how far I can get. And I have other full plates of Nutiden I can just use to complete each hexagon if this is not enough, so I should be fine. I just also noticed this is also black in the middle, so those two won't work in the blanket. Yeah. So I don't have that much actually, but yeah, every time I order from them I get another one of these, so in the end I should have enough to do the full blanket, and I will also use my leftovers, which are not fades, but whatever. So that's my plan. I am waiting for this yarn to arrive to do my first hexagon and see if I can make it work out, and also what gauge I will get, because the worsted weight gauge I think is like, I don't know, maybe 20 or 18 stitches per 10 centimeters. It's like 5 stitches per inch, which is the same as 20 stitches per 10 centimeters. And usually with Nutiden in stockinette I can get to 18 maximum. It's hard to get tighter gauge without the fabric getting too tight, but it's a blanket, so I don't know, I will see. What I could do in the meantime is that I have those leftovers which I unraveled from a beanie I didn't like. I don't even know if I took a picture, but I used the Great Gingham pattern from Jessie Mae designs, and I just didn't like it, so I unraveled it. So maybe I can try do a hexie with that. However, this yarn has already been knit and blocked, which means it lost a lot of its air, So this is half double, but it's much more finer than even a single strand of this, which has not been knit yet. So I obviously will not get the same gauge with this. So I don't know if it's of any help to do a swatch with this, because the gauge is gonna be different anyway. I don't know. That's my plan for the next year, because this blanket is gonna take a long time, because I don't have that much leftovers and samples anyway, so we shall see when I start that and ever finish it. That's it for today. I have no idea. Can I see? I cannot tell for how long I have been filming. Surprise! That's it for today. Apart from the test knit I have going on, my needles are basically free. I only have my granny square blanket and then another random crochet project that I don't need to finish quickly either. So I have all the freedom in the world to start a new project, but I have so much I want to cast on. And I don't like having too much project at once, if you couldn't tell. So I need to choose one. But I'm undecided between casting on another summer top, because I need summer top all year long, or if I start with a sweater. I don't know. I really enjoyed this one. It was on kind of bigger needles. It was 4 millimeters. But yeah, it's starting to get cold. I don't know what I decide. Summer top or sweater. We shall see when I make a decision. But you will know that in the next episode, which I don't know when it will come, because in 2 weeks I will be out for a weekend trip with some friends. So I won't be able to film. So I will either film next week or the one after that. But 1 week is kind of short, and 3 weeks is kind of a lot. I have a little bit too much to share in 3 weeks. So I think it will depend on when Jessie Mae announces her new pattern. If she announces next week, I can just wear that in the podcast and show that to you. And show you my new cast on, which should be enough content, I guess. And if she doesn't, then I will see you in 3 weeks. Regarding my life... Oh, I have a big news. I turned 29 yesterday. It was my birthday. It's the 22nd of September each year. It was a perfect day, easy day, really laid back, really chill. I don't work on Fridays, so it was a day off for me. In the morning we went climbing with my boyfriend. We wanted to go outside, but it rained a lot during the night, so everything was wet during the day, and it was too cold to really dry, so we couldn't go climbing outside, which means we just went inside. And it was really nice too. I had a lot of fun, climbed really well, really happy. Then we came home, chilled a little bit. I knit on my test knit. And then we went to the restaurant with my family. And it was nice. It was really chilled. Perfect day. And also, I think the weather I prefer, like really I like this kind of weather so much, is when it's been really sunny and dry for a long period of time, like 2 weeks. And then suddenly there is a huge storm. Like it rains for a full day or a full night, but really a lot of rain. And then the next day the sky is crystal clear and the air is so crisp and you can see so far in the distance. The horizon is just so clear and so, yeah, I don't know, the feeling it gets when the air is just free of all the small particles and pollens and everything. And yeah, it's just so, everything is crystal clear, and I love how it gets like everything gets to a dark blue shade. I just love that. And yesterday was a day like that. Today also, actually. And yeah, I'm just happy to be blessed with one of those beautiful days on my birthdays. So yeah, that's it for my life news. I don't have anything else to add, so I will see you either in 1 week or 3 weeks. And until then, happy fall to you all. Enjoy the cooler weather and happy knitting. Bye!